Good evening and welcome to the December 4th, 2024 Council of Governments meeting. If you could please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I didn't have my microphone on, Susan.
And then just so for the record, we do have one board member joining the meeting by Zoom, so tonight's votes will be roll call votes. We'll move on to consent agenda. We have a number of items on the consent agenda. Is there any board member that wishes to pull a consent agenda item?
Mr. Chair, it says that we need a motion to approve a member's request to participate remotely. So do we have to vote on that? Agenda
Good
calls for a
evening.
motion.
Would you like me to address that? This is Monica.
Yes, please, Monica.
So good evening, members of the board. So you have a member Catalano is participating remotely, but he is participating under the traditional provisions of the Brown Act because his remote location is actually identified on the agenda. So you do not have a member who is participating remotely due to emergency circumstances or just cause, so no action is needed on item number 1.
All right, okay, thank you.
If it was last minute, like if you came on last minute and you said, hey, I need a,
I'm just reading what it
Yeah.
says, motion to approve.
yeah. Okay, we're good. We're on consent agenda items, so are there any board member that wishes to pull? Okay, seeing none.
Wait, I do. I wish to pull item number 6
Okay,
until we go to item number, whatever it is.
19.
Huh?
19.
Not after item 19, I'll bring it back.
okay. Is that okay with the rest of the board? Are there any issues with that? Okay. Okay, with that, item 6 on consent has been pulled. On the other items, are there any other public comment for any other item on the consent agenda? Okay, and online?
No.
Okay.
No.
Justin, you're good? Okay.
I'm good. I'm good with pulling number 6 and voting on the rest.
Okay, perfect. So we'll pull item number 6 and wait to hear on that until after item 19, and then at that time, we will open it up to public comment. In the meantime, is there a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda?
I move.
Okay, moved by Gary, second by Tim. Aaron, can you do roll call, please?
Yes. Roll call vote for consent agenda items except for item 6. Amanda Follendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Yes.
Caroline Strada,
Yes.
Justin Catalano,
Yes.
Tim Uterdes,
Yes.
Pat Bettinger.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, that is 601.
Yeah, 01, yep. Okay, we will move on to the regular agenda. Next on the regular agenda is public comment. It's 5 minutes per person. Comments shall be limited to items that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council and not on the posted agenda. Are there any public comments for anything not on the agenda? Seeing none in the public, is there any online?
No.
Okay, then we will move on. Next, we have item number 12, which is Caltrans report. I don't see Caltrans online unless I'm missing something.
Nope.
Okay,
So let's continue.
and seeing that they're not here, we will move on to item number 13, which is city county reports, and I will start with Steve online.
Hi, good evening, board members. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Steve Williams. I'm the interim city administrator for the City of Angels, and I appreciate you allowing me to be with you virtually this evening. I do have a report from the city. I have 3 items to report on. Item number 1 is the City of Angels, the Angels Creek and Bicycle Pedestrian Trail. We are moving forward on that project. We have a consultant that is taking the lead on the project, and I've been working with Melissa on the timing, and it appears that we may not need the funding that's allocated before September 30th. So Melissa and I have discussed a possible swap that would allow us to continue to move forward with the project, and then when the funding is necessary, it would just be swapped with another project when the time comes. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about that one before I move on to number 2.
Are there any board members that have any questions about that? Nope, go ahead, Steve.
Okay, thank you very much. Number 2 is we have $100,000 allocated for routine maintenance, and we have plans to use that funding before the September 30th ending for the 2024 year. So we appreciate that funding. We will make very good use of the money, and we do have plans to use it before September 30th. Any questions on that one?
Any questions from the board on that? Nope. Good, Steve. You can
Okay,
continue.
and then my last item, thank you very much. And I want to say that in my short time here, I really appreciate Melissa and all of the staff at COG. They've been great, getting me up to speed and helping me and the City of Angels. And just a good example of that is my third report is COG has applied for grants on behalf of the City of Angels to use for the purchase and installation of EV charging stations. I know that there was a countywide project that goes kind of in conjunction with this, and we have a need for charging stations, and it's just great to have the partnership and the resources available that we can rely on each other. So we appreciate the cooperation. No notification of any awards of grants have been issued yet. But grants have been applied for, and we appreciate it. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about that one.
Any questions on that? Nope, no board members have any questions.
Okay, that's the report for the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it. And then I see that Caltrans came in. Do you want to come up? Okay. So we'll pivot back to 12. That's okay.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. I do apologize for the delay. I do have 2 items. The first one is I definitely want to share. Caltrans has released its 2024-2028 strategic plan. This plan is our guiding document, and it defines our culture, lays out our top priorities, and represents our desired outcomes. We continue to adapt our organization to the ever-changing needs in transportation and the industry itself as the needs of the community change as well. Caltrans, as the largest state department, faces more demand than ever to turn challenges into opportunities for progress, and we continue to do that with the 2024-2028 plan. In addition to upholding our core 4 priorities, safety, climate action, prosperity, livability, we've added one more item, and that is employee excellence. We recognize that we need to have a team that's trained, flexible, adaptive, responsive, agile, and nimble to respond to the community's needs as a whole, and so we continue to do that. This is not different from what we've been doing. It just highlights what we see is a good move for us. Lastly, I wanted to share that Caltrans has released its applications for 25-26 state transportation planning grants in the areas of adaptation, strategic planning, and sustainable communities. There's approximately 37 million available, so we certainly invite Calaveras to apply for those grants for fiscal year 25-26. Our team is available to meet with the team for any planning concepts that may be considered Calaveras may apply for, and so we are available for that. I have no other items to share. Thank you. If anyone has any questions for me.
Any questions? No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Okay. We'll pivot back to item number 13 and go to county reports. Craig?
This may be my quickest, or shortest report ever with you guys. I understand you received the report that had the pictures of the Wagon Trail project. Just for the general public, the project has been winterized. That's all they can do with the winter upon us right now. So there's no additional work occurring right now. But we left this with the new connector to Hunt Road. Has been in operation now since November 19th. There's a section of what we call Cut 5 between Full Station Road and just next. Did I misstate something? Okay.
No.
It's quite possible it happens.
We're fine.
Okay.
You're fine, Craig. Sorry.
Okay, there's an area called Cut 5, and that's just east of Full Station Road. That's going to be a major connector section of the new highway. That's ready to be rocked and paved as soon as we get back this coming spring. And really pleased to see the progress that was made on the MSC retaining wall, if you will. That's been the heart of this whole thing this year, is getting that wall in place with the stream diversion for Nassau Creek. And that, I would estimate, is about 85% of the height that ultimately will be. So they're really close. We almost got there, but we ended up boxing ourselves in a little bit on the dirt, because the dirt they wanted to use to finish off one side of that is what people are driving on right now, the current Highway 4. So in order to access that dirt, they would have had to put a shoe fly, in, temporarily realign everything, and just said that's not worth it, to do all that disruption and have that shoe fly for the whole winter. But otherwise, the project's looking good. What will we be doing for the next few months is catching up on all of our administrative things and billings and payments and cost estimates and things of that nature, so that we are as ready as possible to hit the ground as soon as spring allows us to. And we have a budget that we can make sure that we can deliver and get this project finished. For the public, I'll just mention something that was in your packet, but for anyone listening today that has any interest, it was a general invite we sent out to over 200, approximately 200 property owners, give them an update on the progress made this last season, what's going to happen next construction season, and then invited them to a meeting on Monday, December 19th, or between 5:30 and 7 o'clock at Copperopolis Armory, where they can hear a short presentation about the project, and if they had questions about the project in general, or if they wanted to come and talk privately about their own property, they could certainly do that. We do plan to have a separate engagement with one of the larger property owners out there as requested by the board. But we're trying to cast a broad net, so anyone who wants to talk to us about it, they certainly can.
That's on the 11th, is that correct?
Monday, December 9th.
December 9th.
Next Monday. Yeah,
You want me to be there?
yeah, I'm going to be there.
All right.
Okay. Any questions?
Caroline?
On the new part, or there's a part of the wagon trail that has a lot of water accumulating on it right now. As of today, still, I heard from somebody saying, do you know what's going on with that? Because it's not raining, and so I don't know if you are aware of some standing water on the road. It's by Bar 20, and it's on the 4, it's like near that area of 4. And there's
Okay.
a lot of water accumulating there.
Standing water on
Standing
a newly
water.
constructed highway?
Yeah.
I will find out. I was
That
not
was
aware
one.
of
And then the
that.
second question that I've been asked a few times is that since there's a pause, and this might not be an answer for you, it might be an answer for Caltrans or somebody, but if the work is paused, does the speed limit go back to normal? So that was two questions. Two people asked me about that.
I don't think so. I'll find out for certain, but I don't think so, because there's some temporary barricades and things off to the sides. And things. We don't want people moving over onto shoulders that aren't really ready, for that. But I'll find out and get back through Melissa.
Okay.
on that. Good questions. Wish I had better answers for you.
But it's informative.
Didn't we have in the same place a water issue that washed out part of, we had
No,
to
that
redo?
was farther down where the holding pond was, and that was where there was that spring, and it washed it out,
Yeah,
Okay,
that was quite a ways down.
right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is farther,
it's farther up towards.
farther up the road, yeah. Yeah, last year there was, the spring, after the drought, the spring really flooded and made a hole in the road,
Yeah.
so.
I know we had to repair one depression in the already built section this year. That may have been part of that. They
Okay,
had to dig all that back out, and they repaired that.
yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, thank you. I'll get those answers.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Any other? Okay. Thank you, Craig. We'll move on to item number 14, which is the minute order approving the Calaveras County Public Works request for an exception to the COG timely use of fund policy for the Wagon Trail Phase 1 project. Melissa.
Thank you, Chair Fallendorf. The County Public Works Department is requesting an extension for the fiscal year 23-24 funding of RSTP programmed in that fiscal year. There's approximately, there is 500,000 programmed. The County Public Works Department is requesting a 6 months extension. They anticipate they will be fully invoiced in June of 2025. So staff recommends this extension.
Are there any board questions on the extension? Okay, are there any public comments on the extension? Okay, I don't see Justin raising his hand, so I will bring it back to the board. Is there a motion to approve this agenda
I'll move
item?
this item.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Gary, second by Tim. And can you please do roll call?
Roll call vote for item 14. Amanda Fallendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Yes.
Caroline Sherrano,
Aye.
Justin Catalano,
Yes.
Tim Munities,
Yes,
Pat Bettinger.
Yes.
601.
Okay. Give me a quick moment, because the next agenda item I have to lead, so let me get to that page. Okay. So next on the agenda is item number 15, which is the minute orders citizen member appointment process. So we've got two steps. So the presentation by the applicant, the first step is the presentation by the applicant and questions by the elected members of the council. And then the second step
This is
of
on
this
camera.
would be,
Good night, Greg.
am I good? Are you good? Did I screw up? Okay. Did I screw up?
No, we're talking about the next item
Oh,
and somebody
okay,
signing
okay.
in.
I just want, okay, and then the next step would be step B, which is the minute order approving the nomination and appointment of one citizen member. So in your packet, everyone got the packet of the application. And even though that the questions are by elected members, we do have public comment, so citizen members may comment on this. Has everyone gone through this process before? Okay, I just want to make sure that I wasn't missing it. Okay. Any questions on the process before we open it up? Okay, so we got one application. We got Trevor Wookie. Replacing, as everyone knows, Justin is, this is Justin's last meeting, so this would be for Justin's replacement seat. So we've put the recruitment out, I believe, has it been 3 months?
Yes.
We've had it out for three months, and so far we've only had one application.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add, Melissa? on
Just
that?
to let you know that we've advertised in the Valley Springs News, the Calaveras County Enterprise, our website, and Facebook. This is for a 2-year term. Sorry.
And just so the rest of this board knows, I have, over the last couple months, also reached out to the county electeds, asking if they had anyone in their district, and none of them had someone that they could that they were able to incur to put in an application. So the elected on the County Board of Supervisors have been asked multiple times. So, yes, just want to make sure we cover that.
You never asked me anything.
Well, because you know. And I was referring to the other elected. Okay, so with that, we've got Trevor here. So I'm going to open it up, and Trevor, you want to do introductions and tell the board why you want to join us?
Sure, yeah. Hello, board. Thank you, Chair and Vice Chair, board members, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to come before you and have the opportunity to submit this application to join the COG. My name is Trevor Whitkey. I grew up here in Calaveras County in District 2. I just recently ran for District 2 Supervisor, unsuccessfully, unfortunately, but it was a very close race. And through that race, I had the opportunity to meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of people, spoke with Supervisor Tofinelli, learned a lot about different things that go on throughout the county. Also got the opportunity to speak with our Executive Director, Melissa, yes, Miss Raggio, sorry. And so that was a great learning experience. I got my packet from her, learned a lot about the COG and everything that goes on here. I remember during Amanda's campaign, all of the details and intricacies of the COG and the importance of the COG as a position that she had already had and experience that she had come to the board with when she was in this role with the city council back in the day. And so through that, I went around, talked to a lot of people. I came to the active transportation and trails, or recreational trails meeting that was in Angels Camp. Got involved in that. I reached out to Pat McGreevy, and he was able to give me all of the historic documents on old trails that are in the county, so I'm very interested in working on that project. I know there's going to be an update tonight on that, and so that's something that I would like to work on. I'm also very interested in evacuation and emergency preparedness services. That's something, as somebody who went through the Butte Fire, I know the importance of this issue. It was one of the biggest issues throughout the district as I was walking and talking to people throughout District 2. So I definitely want to see anything that we can do to implement the different work that's already been done through COG on that. And yeah, so those are some of the main priorities and things that I would like to see. I would also like to just do whatever I can to support the partnerships that the COG is part of that makes it so that we meet the transportation needs and the transit needs of our community. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Do any board members have any questions for Trevor? Everyone quiet tonight.
Justin, he's replacing you. Excuse me. Justin, he's replacing you. You have questions, you should grill him.
I got some questions. I might have to drill them. But no, hello, Trevor. How are you doing over there? Last week when I started reading the packet and I saw that you were applying for this position, I was pleased to know that somebody as an intellect and somebody who does a lot of research and is very committed to this county and has a lot of perseverance with the trials and tribulations that are commonplace, I suppose, in the county, is interested in taking over this position. I'm happy that you are interested in this, and you know, as we know each other, so if there's anything that you need to know at any point, feel more than free to reach out to me. I'll give you any information that I can give you.
Thank you, Justin. Yeah,
I'm
no.
just happy to know that somebody good is stepping up to the plate.
Thank you, man. That means a lot, and just know that I've got big shoes to fill. Justin, you got a lot of experience, and I will definitely call upon you because, yeah, I know that in our time throughout the years, getting to know each other, this is an area of expertise that you really have, and I appreciate that somebody from our community was able to participate and be a member of the COG for so many years, and I'm sad to see you go, but hope that I can fill your shoes well.
I'm sure you will.
Thanks, man.
Gary, do you have a question?
No, I don't have any
Comment?
questions. I just want to say that I've known Trevor for a while. We went through our own trials and tribulations, but I do know this. I did meet with him. He always comes prepared. He always does his homework, and when he comes and he speaks or he talks, he's always prepared and answers all the questions that need to be answered. And I'm sure he'll do a fantastic job here coming prepared when we have our meetings. So I recommend him.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay, we got a motion on the table. I do have to do public comment. Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, we've got a motion. Is there a second?
Has to come from the electeds.
Oh, right. Got it.
I'll second.
Okay, Caroline, second. Aaron, do you need to do roll call? Yeah. Okay,
Just for
Okay.
three.
Just, yeah.
well, I thought if Justin wasn't, but yes, okay, go ahead.
It's only other.
Roll call vote on item 15. Amanda Follender,
Yes,
Gary Tofinelli,
Yes.
Caroline Sherrano.
Yes.
so that's 301.
301.
Hey, congratulations, Trevor.
Thank you so much. I look forward to
Thanks.
joining you.
Your first meeting up here will be February, yep. So you've got plenty of time to play catch up. And thank you for applying. It's nice to see someone off the Highway 4 corridor. So we will move on to the next agenda item, which is agenda item number 16. So this is the presentation by Richardson and Company with the request for acceptance by the council of the 23-24 Annual Transportation Development Act, TDA, financial audits for the Calaveras Council of Governments and the Calaveras Transit Agency. With this, I'll turn it over to the executive director and then go on to the presentation.
Perfect, thank you. As you're aware, the COG and CTA are required to conduct these annual TDA financial audits. These annual audits are due 180 days after the close of the fiscal year. So that would be December 30th, December 31st. As you're also aware, COG contracted with Richardson and Company to conduct these audits. Brian Nash is here remotely, and he is going to give the presentation on both the COG and CTA audits for fiscal year 23-24. Brian, I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully you can hear me now. I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see the financial statements
Yes.
that I have up? Okay. So I'll be presenting the June 30, 24 Calaveras COG and the Transit Agency financial statements tonight. Just kind of a overview. The audit went well. There was a finding in the previous year that was addressed, and there were no additional issues noted that were significant. So went really well. So I'll start here with the Council of Governments. There's also two letters that we present. One is this governance letter. It's a letter of required disclosures to a governing body under an audit standard. I'll cover each of the items in there in my oral presentation. And then there's another letter called that we call the management letter. This has a couple of minor recommendations in it, and I'll cover that as well. So just one thing I always point out, when auditors audit financial statements, it's management's responsibility for those financial statements. Our responsibility is to provide our opinion based on our audit. In the financial statements, the first page is the independent auditor's report, and we have what's called an unmodified or clean opinion, so that's good. It went well. Nothing unusual happened that we had to disclose in the financial statements. As I mentioned, there are a couple of minor items in the management letter. I'm not going to show the management letter. I'm just going to mention these verbally. There was just a recommendation to include in the resolutions approving TDA claims, the TDA code section number, and we went over this with Ann, your finance officer, and she knows what to do. That's something that's required by the Transportation Development Act compliance testing requirements. It's not a big deal, but just make sure that the code sections in those resolutions. And the state of good repair allocations, there's a process for getting those allocations approved. It's supposed to be approved by the COG board, and then it's supposed to go to Caltrans. Caltrans is supposed to approve the allocation, and it prepares a report showing its approved allocations. And then at that point, allocations can be made based on budgeted project expenses. Apparently the Caltrans approval wasn't received before that allocation was made. So just keep that in mind next year if you're doing a state of good repair allocation. On the financial statements, there's two different views of the numbers. The way you budget your numbers is you budget the, it's not cash basis, but it's short-term activity. You don't budget for changes in long-term liabilities. That's the general fund. The other view that we have in the financial statements is this governmental activities financial statement. This is the full accrual statements, and the difference is there's capital assets, long-term assets, and long-term liabilities. There's long-term liabilities here, which include leases, subscriptions, which are software subscriptions. If they are expected to go into the future, we record a liability for those now. Compensated absences, that would be your vacation, sick leave, PTO kind of liabilities for your employees, and the net pension liability for your employees. So those are the differences that are on this statement compared to your governmental fund statement. I'm going to move to your governmental fund statement now. So this is your governmental funds, your general fund, your main operating fund, and then you have some other funds, some special revenue funds that are for restricted revenue sources. This view, you budget this way, you budget the way this is shown, which is short-term assets and liabilities and changes in those. One thing I'd like to point out here, the unassigned fund balance here at the bottom of the general fund, we always keep an eye on this number. It's 58% of expenditures, which is down from 65% in the prior year. It's always good to have some excess funds due to the grants that you receive. Sometimes those are slow to be collected. I think you're in a pretty good position there with 58% of expenses in unassigned fund balance. These other special revenue funds, I look at this this restricted for program requirements line. This is the amount that's available if you took your assets and subtracted your liabilities. You can see the biggest fund is your local transportation fund. It has 2.8 million in it. There's state transit assistance, surface transportation program fund, and these are considered major funds. And then this column includes three what we consider non-major funds. That includes your state of good repair fund, your low carbon transit operations program fund, and your pedestrian and bicycle fund, which comes from LTF money. In total there you have 5.21 million of funds in these special revenue funds that are available to be distributed. One of the things that Melissa wanted me to mention is, what's available for your transit facility. So local transportation funds, that can be allocated for your transit facility. State transit assistance can be allocated for that. And then in your non-major governmental funds, there's, go ahead and turn to that page. There's not as much money in that one, but there are some funds in the non-major funds. There's 203,000 in state of good repair that's available for your transit facility. And pedestrian and bicycle funds, you allocated that for that purpose, but the TDA does say you could pull that back if you think there's a greater need in transit. I know you have some of those funds encumbered though, so that's not really fully available. We go back to the other page here. I think if you add up all of those funding sources, there's about $3.2 million there. that would be available for your transit facility if you allocated just to that project. General fund revenues, I'm going to turn to the revenue page. The LTF fund is your largest, the LTF allocation is your largest revenue source for planning and administration. And then there's various types of grants that are received. In total, your revenues were up 292,000. The expenses were up 227,000. So which is pretty typical for your organization. You have grants that you receive, and then you have lots of expenses related to those grants. So they generally, revenues and expenses kind of move together. There you'll see in the one of the things I wanted to point out is there's professional services, and that in the current year included $158,000 of PT, MISCA, PTEMSA that was allocated out to the Transit Authority to purchase a bus. That was the biggest expense in that line item. So overall, the general fund used 73,000 more in expenses than in revenues. One of the things you'll see here is issuance of long-term liabilities. There is a subscription liability recorded, and there was the extension of your office lease recorded. And in a governmental fund, that's considered to be a other financing source. So that's a little bit unusual for the COG. We'll move on, just point out a couple of footnotes, and then I'll move on to the transit agency. So there's footnotes in the back of the financial statements. There's footnotes that describe cash and investments, capital assets, what you have there, the liabilities. There's amortization schedules for your lease payments and your subscription, your software payments. There's an insurance footnote. And then there's contract commitments. This shows the contracts that have been approved but had not been fully spent by the end of the year. There's a pension plan footnote that has lots of information about the methods and assumptions used in the pension plan. That's there to look at. I'm not going to cover that in detail. On this footnote, other state grants, there's a requirement for us to keep track of revenues and expenses and disclose those in the financial statements for the different revenue sources that you have that are not reported in a separate fund. There is a little bit of PTEMSA money available, and I think that's being held for a bus. And then there's a little bit of LC top money that's available. So those are the revenues that are available in the general fund. Now, this subsequent event footnote, this is where we disclose the new revenue sources, the zero emission transit capital program and intercity rail capital program allocation that was received. In total, there was 2.8 million that was identified for the COG to claim in the future. That would be available for your transit facility. And then we disclosed there's a contract that was approved after year end that we disclosed here for on-call transportation planning. I want to point out a couple other things. This is the budget versus actual report for the general fund. There's two views of this. One is how it's reported under how it's reported in the financial statements. This does not include carryover revenue. And then down here at the bottom, we added the budget carryover to show you what the revenues are on a budgeted basis compared to your expenses. So up here on the GAAP basis, revenues were under budget by $500,000 and expenses were under budget by $387,000. And then with the carryover funds, you had you're much closer to budget on everything. There was a little bit of a shortfall on the state and local subvention planning grants. This schedule here is related to the pension liability. This shows you 10 years of information. And this number right here is what I focus on. It shows the funded percentage. And it kind of fluctuates with the earnings that Caltrans has. You can see there was a really good earning year back in 22 where your funded percentage went up to 93%. And now it's back down a little bit. They didn't quite receive their income earnings as planned, as included in the long-term assumption in the plan. So the funded percentage went down a little bit. Okay, so that's all I have for you on the Council of Governments. And stop me at any time if you want me to cover something in more detail. And if not, I can go to the Transit Agency. So the Transit Agency also had a clean opinion. There's no modifications in the opinion of the Transit Agency. There was a finding in the prior year that LTF money was overclaimed, and that caused this restricted for transit operations number in that position to increase a lot last year. That had been taken care of. In the current year, you could see there's no local transportation funds claimed. So that took care of that finding. So the restricted for transit operations kind of declined in the current year. So we considered that finding we had in the previous year's financial statement resolved. So from what I understand, there's $800,000 reserve approved after year end for the transit operations, and the rest of those funds could be available for that transit project as well, your transit facility. So let's see, this number is 86% or about 10 months of operating expenses less depreciation. And kind of the rule of thumb that we go by, this was something that CCOG down in Sacramento is kind of their rule of thumb is a transit operator should have at least 3 to 6 months of excess funds on hand, but when you get over 6 months, then it might be getting a little bit thick, a little bit extra. So the $800,000 I think is to address that recommendation that we've had in the past. On the income statement side, not much change in the fares, up about 6,000. Expenses, operating expenses, if you subtract depreciation, we're up, let's see, operating expenses were up about 89,000. And the two lines that increased the most were the purchase transportation and the fuel. So you just can't, and I'm sorry, and maintenance. So let's see, the non-operating revenues, this is where your grants and TDA revenue fall, declined from 1.5 million to 1.3 million, and that was largely due to not claiming the LTF, like I mentioned. And there was lots of capital revenue in the current year. There was the LC Top, and there's that the PTEMSA that I mentioned that came from the COG for a bus. So there was lots of activity, lots of capital projects going on in the current year. If you look at the operating expenses, one of the things I wanted to point out is this professional services line that was affected by us recording a subscription liability for software. In the prior year, the software was expensed, but in the current year, we looked at the agreement, and it was determined that it probably will be kept for a while, and it met the definition to record the software as a liability. So it comes out of expenses and it goes into a liability and capital assets, and that's why the depreciation increased. The subscription capital asset was amortized, and the lease on the office building was amortized, and so that's why that depreciation went up in the current year. So let's see, in total, change in net position was a positive 107,000 compared to 200,000 in the prior year. Okay, Gonna go on to just mention a couple footnotes. There are restricted assets for state of good repair, and there was a bus sale where some funds exist. So 129,000 restricted cash exists. The cash and investments are with the county pool. There's a footnote that shows the fixed assets that exist. There's a footnote that shows the liabilities. There's a subscription and a lease liability for the transit center. Let's see, there's information about the leases. The state grant programs show you all the activity that occurred. So there was the transit vehicle purchased with Potemsa money. LC Tapia purchased a van, Dialer Rides Spare Lab software. There's Saturday hopper service and free fares. In the state of good repair, there was engine replacement and injector. So lots of activity going on. Your staff was busy. The fair revenue ratio, that was always something in the past that was a concern, but there was, during COVID times, the state changed its definition of what can be included as revenues in this calculation to include federal grants. So once that happened, the fair revenue ratio was significant. So it's 51% in 24. If you take out the federal grants, it's still 11%. So it's still 11.08%. So that is above that 10% minimum required ratio. Going on, there's the commitment footnote discloses the transit contract that you have. And then in this subsequent event footnote, we once again talked about the grants that are received. It's in both the COG and the transit agency's footnote, since it's going to affect both. And then there's also the architect contract is disclosed in this that was approved of 1.1 million as a subsequent event. And so that's all we had. The compliance report had no findings in the current year. So otherwise, the other required disclosures for an auditor to a governing body is what's estimated in the financial statements, the fair value of the county investment pools, an estimate. The cost reimbursement grant receivables are based on an estimate of qualifying expenses, which the grantor could review and disallow, possibly, not expected to, but possibly could. The lives used for capital asset depreciation, the compensated absences liability, which is the vacation and sick leave liability, the lease and subscription liability, those are estimated based on an estimated discount rate, and the pension liability, which is based on a valuation that CalPERS prepares. So other than that, there's nothing else, no other difficulties during the audit. Went well. We are also under contract to prepare the County of Calaveras non-transit fund TDA audit and the City of Angels TDA audit. We just scheduled the county audit in January, and the City of Angels finance director said that she should have information to us in the next couple weeks, so we should be able to start that one fairly soon. Hopefully bring it to you in either the February or the March meeting. And with that, I'm done with my presentation. Be happy to answer some questions if you have any.
Do any of the board members have questions? Gary?
I don't have any questions. I think it was a good report, and I thank you for doing it. And bottom line between the COG and the CTA is your conformance letters that we are in compliance with state requirements in both CTA and COG. And I think that goes to our staff and everybody involved in through the year of making sure we're doing everything correctly and right. So thank you, everyone. Especially staff.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? I don't see, I'm looking at Justin just to make sure I don't skip somebody. Okay, good. Okay, with that, is there any public comment on this?
Can I
Yes.
just make a comment?
Yes.
I would just like to thank Brian and his team at Richardson and Company. To get these audits in at the beginning of December is really hard, and his staff goes above and beyond. And then I would also like to thank my staff for working so hard on getting this done. So thank you, Brian.
You're welcome, and Ann was a real big help.
There's no public comment. There's none in the room, and I'm guessing there's none online?
Nope.
Oh, okay, then and thank you, Brian, and thank you, COG staff. I mean, I know this was a heavy lift, and there's a lot of things that we had to get in order over the last couple years, and with staff turnover at the same time, so thank you for getting this through, and we don't have any findings for once. Yay.
That was great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And even the fare box, I mean, that's always been our the nervousness of these audits is if we're meeting the fare box. So it's good to see that even with the federal, like Brian pointed out, we would have been over that 10%, which is really good. So I hope
One
they-
comment, excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
The federal funds can be included in the fair revenue ratio through 25-26, so we still have a year and a half to go where that is still allowed. So breathing room for another year and a half.
Perfect. I was just gonna ask that question, so thank you. So good, we have some breathing room, and then hopefully they will all get the point that we should have this trend forever, and maybe extend it past that timeline. So with that, since this is a presentation, there's no action.
Yeah, we'd just like consensus that you accept the report as presented.
Okay, so we'll do a motion to accept the report as presented tonight. So is there a motion to accept?
So moved.
Moved by Tim, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Pat. Erin, can you please do roll call?
Item 16, roll call vote. Amanda Follendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Yes.
Caroline Sherrato,
Yes.
Justin Catalano,
Yes.
Tim Unides,
Yes.
Pat Bettinger.
Yes.
601.
Okay, we are moving on to our next agenda item, but before we go on, I just want to check and see if everybody's good. We don't need any breaks. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make, because usually we haven't ran this long in a meeting, so I want to make sure I'm not.
And actually, item number 6 that I pulled needs to be after item 19,
Yes.
not 16.
Yeah, I have it as 19.
19.
Yep. And then after item 19, we'll go back to 6. Right, Gary?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, we'll move on to item number 17, which is the presentation of the active transportation and recreational trails plan and existing conditions. This is going to be presented by Carly, and she's been very busy going around the county and putting this together for us. So welcome, Carly, and you're up.
Thank you. So my name's Carly Hoyt, and I'll talk to you just briefly on the Calaveras County Active Transportation and Recreational Trails Plan. We're calling it the ATRTP for short, just because that's kind of a mouthful, so you'll most commonly hear me refer to it as that. So today I just do a quick introduction kind of on the project team, high-level overview of the project. We just wrapped up the existing conditions draft report, which I think was included in the packet tonight. And then I'll give you an update on the project schedule and our next steps. So as you all know, this is a COG-led project. We're here just because of great grant funding efforts and applications. So like I said, I work for Fair & Peers, and we're the prime consultant on the project. We're a transportation planning and consulting firm. I also grew up in Calaveras County, live here still, so very familiar with the county as a whole, and happy to have been here my whole life, basically. We have 2 sub-consultants on our project. One is Green Dot, who also has been pretty active in Calaveras over the years. They're another transportation consulting firm. Then another sub-consultant is WGA, which is also local. They have an office in San Andreas, and also very familiar with the county. We also obviously have the city and county logos up here because they'll be partnering on this project and working with us throughout the next year or so. So the ATRTP basically is going to document the existing and develop and prioritize planned walking, biking, and recreational opportunities in the county. It includes an active transportation and a recreational trails piece, which are a little bit different, but they are kind of commingled as well. So the active transportation side is really focusing on providing connections between various land uses like residential, commercial, schools, jobs, kind of within each community area. And then the recreational trails piece will be looking at different types of recreation and focusing on how and where do people recreate, and then ways to expand or connect and improve those facilities, and then ways to actually provide access from the local communities to those facilities when kind of that trail network is within close proximity to kind of the community area. The primary goals of the project overall are to expand upon previous efforts. There's been a lot of different plans throughout the county, and they've all been very well documented, but kind of focused on individual community areas. So this is kind of expanding on those efforts, but taking a more holistic approach at the county, looking at the county as a whole, and then working to improve bicycle and pedestrian safety and accessibility, closing gaps in existing facilities, and identifying new or expanded facilities, and then also improving experience on those facilities. So outreach is a huge part of this plan, and our scope includes kind of various ways to kind of target and engage the community. So we have public workshops at 3 different stages. We have completed the existing conditions, which I know some of you attended, thank you. And then right now we're in what's called the network expansion phase. So we're looking kind of at everything that we found during the existing conditions, a survey and a lot of survey responses, and kind of identifying the actual expansions. And then the third phase is bringing back the actual planned project list to the community. So we'll have different workshops at each of those phases. We also have pop-up events. We've attended 3 so far, and we'll have more in 2025. We have stakeholder meetings. We've also had 1. It was a focused kind of recreational stakeholder meeting, so we have 2 more throughout the remainder of the project. Project advisory committee meetings, and then like I said, we had a survey. We got a ton of responses, which I was so happy about. And we also have an online interactive map, which community members can literally go in and draw connections they want or place comments on places that they want to see improvements. They have concerns. They feel like there's unsafe intersections or really anything they want to comment on. So the existing conditions document was kind of lengthy, had a lot of figures, so I'm not going to dig into all of the details, but if you have any questions on it, I'm here for that. Kind of high level, it included a document review, an overview of the county demographics, looking at travel patterns and key destinations, existing infrastructure, and then a safety and collision analysis. And then I just wanted to show some actual photos of things. These are just random ones. You can tell that I'm actually in my car in some of them, driving, but it's like every time I drive in the county, I very often see people walking and biking just on the sides of the highways in most cases, and it gives me a lot of anxiety. And so I was really excited when I got this grant because I think that there definitely is a lot of demand in the county for walking and biking in certain areas, and there really is not a lot of facilities for it. And so I think this is just a great step in hopefully creating some really nice and safe connections. So yeah, this is Highway 12 and 26 in Valley Springs. Go to the next one. Another one off 26, and then the last photo is actually a picture I took of my daughter. Sorry, I can go back. It's this is just a real life experience for me every day. We live in Burson, and so there's like a little local road to the side of us. That's a court. That's a great safe place for her to be able to walk and ride her bike, but there's no way for us to safely get there, so I literally make her walk in a ditch. And so obviously I'm not expecting my front yard to be improved with this project, but this kind of thing happens to I think a lot of parents and families. So.
That's a nice picture of the guy on a bicycle with the tire mark right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's right outside Gold Creek, and you can see like it's tapering in. So 26 is getting real narrow, and it's just I see it all the time. So even on my way here tonight, there was someone in pitch black on Highway 12. So dangerous. So yeah, those were some photos. So touching on the project schedule, like I said, we have kind of wrapped up the draft, at least, of the existing conditions document. We're in that network expansion phase right now, which will go until about spring and summer of 2025. And then we'll be working on the project prioritization. So that's when we actually are identifying which of all of the projects might meet different prioritization. We'll have criteria as well at that time. And then we'll bring the draft plan in fall of 2025 and the final plan in winter of 2025 or January 2026-ish. January, February, depending on meetings. February.
Sorry, Susan, a year from now.
Yeah, a year from now. So our next steps are to really finalize the initial draft recommendations, and then we'll have, once we have kind of that map identified of those potential connections, like I said, we'll come back and bring it to the community again, and I think it'll be good for the public, especially once they can actually see it on a map. It kind of helps people visualize what could be happening and what they might not want to happen. So we'll do more extensive outreach at that point and then move into that project prioritization phase once we have the overall network kind of finalized. And lastly, here is my contact information. Obviously, you can reach out to CCOG too, but if you have any questions, here's my direct information. And I think that's all. So.
Are there any questions from the board? Justin
I
has
have a question.
Thank you, Justin. Yep. Go for it.
So I'm just curious, being this is going to be, concentrating on some people moving without a vehicle, are there going to be places that we have public water available to people?
Like water fountains, I guess?
No, Justin.
Okay.
Unless it's, no, like the trailhead in
Yeah,
Angels Camp. If it has a trailhead, like I think in Angels Camp's plan, there is a plan to have water, but it doesn't right now.
And
Okay.
Justin, I have a comment on that too. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know it's more popular on the Highway 4 corridor, but some of the businesses have like a sticker, at least they used to, where they would put in the window where people could go in and get water. And it was something that was pushed out with the Visitors Bureau pre-COVID. And that was pretty popular.
Hydration station.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. That's what it is. And I don't know if it's been back and publicized as much as it was before
I'm not seeing
COVID.
the stickers in town.
Okay, so maybe maybe that's something in another avenue, Justin, that can be recreated. But I know that the county, there was a county-wide, and I don't know who sponsored it. I don't know if it started by the chamber or the CVB, but there was the hydration station, and people could go into a business and fill up on water.
There's also funding through the T-Stand. I know that they do hydration stations and they're doing water filling stations for like larger capacity, like if your well goes out. And so I mean, that's a whole other project kind of thing. I think with like the City of Angels, we're putting in hydration stations in the park, and then with the trail, there's plans for that. So I know for us, there will be parts of the city that have that, but for the other parts of the community, I think that would have to come from, I don't know who goes to those meetings from the county supervisor. Somebody does. I think might be Ben.
Yeah. Yeah. But those are good ideas, Justin.
Okay, thank you for answering the question. Yeah.
Is there any other questions? Okay, I have a question, and maybe this is a Caltrans, maybe a question. So I sit on the District 10 BPAC committee, and one of the number one things that come up as they're doing trails and making sure that the roads are accessible is the rumble strips. And so how, when this plan is accepted and completed, and we start these projects, how does that relationship work with Caltrans with some of the rumble strips? Because the easement, like there's a picture in here, and I think it's Highway 26. You can see the rumble strip. So if that were to be a project in this, how do we make that safer for the bike riders? You know what I mean? Like, how did some of this stuff get captured in solving those problems in the plan?
Yeah, so rumble strips, from my understanding, typically, like a lot of the times lately, they'll be designed with gaps. So if you're expecting the bicyclists, like say there's a bike lane, and you're
Okay.
expecting them to want to merge into the next lane, you would actually have breaks in those rumble strips and kind of designated almost like merging lanes,
Okay.
is how they're designed when there's a lot of like bike activity or it's a designated bike facility.
Okay, okay, okay. No, I just feel like I have to ask that, so.
Yeah,
I-
rumble strips are contentious, and even in this area, because like one of the potential ones we're looking at is just kind of like an extended paved shoulder area, but you would want the rumble strip to keep that pedestrian safety, but in certain communities, like rumble strips are loud. So so that's another issue also with bicyclists crossing them. The residents, if it's a heavily residential area, a lot of times they don't actually want the rumble strips. So there's kind of a lot of little nuances to the design of it that we will get into once we have the actual roadways kind of mapped out and the facilities planned.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Solid topic. Rumble strips are contentious.
Bicyclists.
Yeah. No, I just had to ask the question.
Yeah.
So, thank you for
Yeah.
answering that. No, thank you. This is, I attended the Bret Hart one. Did you attend the Valley? You went to Valley Springs, and they were really well-organized events. A lot of mixes of uses. I mean, it wasn't just walking, it was mountain biking, it was trail riding, it was all kind, hiking. So it was really nice to see the variety of people coming in to participate on this at the public workshop. So thank you. It was really well put together. Okay. So if there's no other comment from the board, then I'm gonna take it to public comment. Are there any public comments or questions? And none in the room, and I'm guessing none online.
No.
Okay, then we're good, because we're just getting an update, we're not adopting. Okay, thank you, Carly, for coming tonight. Okay, move on to item number 18, which is the minute order approving fiscal year 24-25 operation budget amendment number 1. Melissa.
Thank you, Chair Vollendorf. Staff is recommending an amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 operations budget. If you turn to page 305, you can see a breakdown. The total increase is $14,828. A majority of this increase is the Acela meeting software that the council approved at the November meeting. And since we're coming up on mid-year, we are correcting or analyzing what came in higher. Line item 5160, liability insurance, we needed to increase $3,000. And then we also had CalPERS unfunded liability. This item was also reviewed and supported by the executive management group. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions on this? I see none from the board. Are there any public comments? Seeing none, and I'm guessing none online.
No.
Okay, we'll move it back to the board. Is there a motion to approve this?
So moved.
Moved by Tim. Is there a second?
Second.
Justin, second. And can you please do roll call?
Item 18, roll call vote. Amanda Follendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Yes.
Caroline Strato,
Yes.
Justin Catalano,
Yes.
Tim Unides,
Yes.
Pat Bettinger.
Yes.
609.
Thank you. Okay, we will move on to item 19, and then just a reminder, after item 19, we will pivot back to item 6 from the consent agenda. Is there any questions on that before? Okay, so next on the agenda is the minute order approving the fiscal year 24-25 overall work program, the OWP Administrative Amendment Number 2. Melissa.
Thank you, Chair Follendorf. Staff is recommending approval of this administrative amendment to the fiscal year 24-25 overall work program. The most significant change or increase to this overall work program is work element number 14. It's on page 312. I think we've also provided a copy of the overall work program amendment number 1, so you can see the changes or if you have any additional questions. Work element 14, the City of Angels requested moving forward with phase 2 of the greenhouse gas reduction plan. The City of Angels approved their phase 1 at the December 2023 meeting. They met with the Technical Advisory Committee. The Technical Advisory Committee supported allocating this funding so they can move forward with Phase 2. We've also included the work element, which details the work that will be completed on this work element. The other increase is to work element number 1, which includes the $14,000 that was just approved in the operations budget. And then work element number 7, we increased $15,000 in anticipation of applying for grant applications. The total increase of the overall work program is approximately $75,000. If the council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions from the board? Gary, do you have anything before I move?
No, I'm fine with it. I talked to her later.
Okay, Justin, are you good? Looks like you're good. Okay. If there's nothing from the board, is there any public comment? Seeing none online, move it back to the board. Is there a motion to approve
So
this
moved.
amendment? Moved by Gary, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tim, and roll call. Please.
Item 19, roll call vote. Amanda Follendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Aye.
Caroline Sherrado,
Aye.
Justin Catalano,
Yes.
Tim Unities,
Yes.
Pat Bettinger.
Yes.
601.
Okay, with that, we'll move back to consent agenda item number 6, which is the minute order approving the award of 3 professional contract services for transportation planning program, project delivery, on-call consulting services to Mark Thomas and Company, Ray Engineers, REY Engineers, and Weber Geo. So is there any?
Well, the reason I pulled this, because I thought this was on the consent, and it says that the overall work program amendment number 2 to be approved on December 4th regular meeting includes various work elements. Well, I thought we should at least make sure we approve item 19, number 2, before we approve this.
And that's fine, we copied what we did the last time we did on-call services. So if it's the pleasure of the board, the next time that we go, we can direct staff and us, whoever the chair invite, we can make sure that then it becomes on the regular agenda. So when staff asked me, I told them to keep it as it was the last time. And when we did this in 2020, so just for the reason of the board. So if it's the pleasure, do you guys want to in the future see it on the regular agenda after the OW piece?
I just wanted to make
Okay.
sure that we didn't approve something and then come back and somebody had a problem with the, overall work program amendment number 2, and it didn't get passed, and so.
I'd just like.
That's why I pulled it. If we want to do it, I know we did it before, but so.
No, and I agree, because if there was funding or contracts outlined in the overall work program, you would need to approve the overall work program before.
There was.
So when Gary called me, I agreed, let's pull the item. It was a matter of process. You should approve the OWP before you approve the contracts.
Okay.
Okay.
Are there any questions on this? Any other questions or comment? Okay. Is there any public comment on it? Seeing no public comment, and I'm guessing no, bringing it back to the board for a motion to approve consent agenda item number 6.
So moved.
Moved by Pat, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Justin. All in favor, roll call in.
Roll call item 6, Amanda Follendorf,
Yes.
Gary Tofinelli,
Aye.
Caroline Sherrado,
Aye.
Justin Catalano,
Aye.
Tim Unities,
Aye.
Pat Bettinger.
Aye.
601.
Okay, we have the next agenda item. Give me a moment. I don't know where it got lost, and so let me pull it out of the agenda. I got it. Yeah. I was just thinking I was gonna use that one. Sorry. Okay, next on the agenda, we'll put one of our board members in the hot seat. is adopting a proclamation recognizing Justin for his service as a citizen member on the Calaveras Council of Governments. Justin has been with us for a long, long time. Yeah, it's been, yeah. Yeah, I think all of us. I think there's been quite a few of us.
We both came on in 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
Him and me have been on there the same amount of time.
So, I'm gonna read out the proclamation and then we'll bring it back to, we can reminisce during the public comment period. Ahead, this is a proclamation recognizing the dedication and commitment of Justin, serving as a council member on the Calaveras Council of Governments. Whereas Justin has been appointed citizen member to the Calaveras Council of Governments for a total of 9 years, 2 of them serving as the vice chair. And whereas his reliability served the county and the city and strived to work for a long-time betterment of Calaveras County and its citizens throughout his term. And whereas throughout his time on the COG, he provided continuous support and commitment of regional priority issues and projects, the most notable, the State Route 4 Wagon Trail project, positioning that project for funding and the ultimate delivery, in which we're in phase 1. And whereas he supported multiple projects of regional significance, particularly the creation of the Calaveras Transit Agency, the rebranding and marketing project, and the Angels Creek Trail. And in 9 years of service as a citizen member on the COG, he has gained the respect of his fellow council members, COG staff, and the community. And with that, I will open it up for the board. Go ahead.
Justin, it's been an honor and a pleasure serving with you all these years. I wish you the best of luck in your new chapter of your life.
Thank you.
Justin, I ditto that. It's been wonderful working with you. You always, again, you come prepared and you have the knowledge that you had for the years that you've been on here. And it's a loss for COG. And I appreciate working with you over the last at least 8 years that I've been here. Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
And I echo everything they said. I'm not going to be repetitive, but it's been a great honor to work with you, Justin. We've grown, I think, like with Tim, we've grown all together on this board. We've gone through the ups and downs and gotten in the trenches and worked together to really get some of these projects delivered and work through the down times and the high times. And I hope that if you are visiting California, hopefully the next time you're here, we will have a CTA building to show off to you. So thank you for everything that you've done, not just for this board, but supporting, I worked with you when I served on 2 different jurisdictions and supporting, me when we were at the city doing our projects and now at the county. So it's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Justin.
You're welcome. I appreciate everybody's kind words, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Justin.
Okay, do you have anything else you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
My time here has been a very exciting and interesting experience in my life. It's definitely one of my most passionate projects that I've undertaken in the county, and I am very grateful that I was given the opportunity to serve the county in this fashion. And I really enjoyed my time. I'm very not disappointed, but I do have strong feelings of having to move on and continue my personal journey in life. And it's been a pleasure to work with everybody on the council. It's been a pleasure to work for 3 different executive directors in my term, and it's been a very wonderful experience in life for me that I will cherish forever. And I hope that the COG continues to provide excellent service to the county, and also in the transit organization. It's been a wonderful experience, and I just thank everybody for allowing me to be a part of it, and I wish everybody well, and I hope that the COG can continue at a high point, and I'm leaving I feel at a high point from when I started, and it's just been a great experience. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Thank you. We're gonna miss you.
I will miss everybody as well. Thank you.
So with that, is there a motion to approve? Oh, wait, is there any other public comment? Nope, okay. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move.
Moved by Gary,
Second.
second by Tim. Aaron, can you do roll call, please?
Item 20, roll call vote. Amanda Follender,
Yep.
Gary Tofinelli,
Aye.
Caroline Sherrod,
Aye.
Justin, of course.
I'll go along with it.
Tim Unities,
Aye.
and Pat Bettinger.
A hearty aye.
Perfect. 601.
So with that, now be it proclaimed by the Calaveras Council of Governments, Calaveras, the County of Calaveras, State of California, that the dedication and commitment by Justin is hereby recognized, and his service to the county is acknowledged and appreciated. The proclamation was passed and adopted by the Council of Governments at the regular meeting held on the 4th day of December 2024. So, thank you. If you were here, we would be taking pictures.
I feel horrible for not being there today.
Yes. Hey. So with that, we'll move, we have 2 more items before we adjourn. Do you want, and then we'll take a break? Yeah, okay. Next, we have item number 21, which is the council report. So I'll start with Kim.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, Pat?
Nothing.
Okay, Gary?
This Friday night in Valley Springs at 6 p.m. to 8:30 will be the Christmas tree lighting, annual Christmas tree lighting on the corner of 12 and 26. And then the next morning, Saturday morning, the 7th, 10 a.m. is the annual 43rd annual Valley Springs Christmas Parade. So if you could be there, fantastic.
Caroline?
We had a council meeting last night. We had interviews for a new city administrator in closed session, and then we approved all of our labor agreements, which always feels great. And then on the park, we had a landscape meeting today, and the park's still on completion about April of next year. So that's still on schedule for that. And then lastly, we have Angels Camp has their parade on Saturday at 5 p.m. And also there's Murphy's Open House on Friday. I don't know what time, 6, I think.
Is there anything going on in District 2?
Anything going on where?
In District 2, up in Milk Hill?
I know their Christmas parade, I think, is not this Saturday. I'm not sure.
I didn't see it.
She lives up there.
Usually I go walk downtown. Usually it's this weekend. They don't do a parade. They do like an open house and like hot chocolate for the kids and arts and crafts and stuff. But
In McCollum?
Yeah.
I
Pictures
thought
with
they did a
Santa.
parade, but I guess no.
4th of July.
And San Andreas has one on
Well, yeah, San Andreas has one Saturday. Yeah, Saturday evening here on Main Street. I should have brought that up. Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, Main Street, I think it's 6 to,
8, I think.
huh?
I think it's 6 to 8.
Yeah, 6 to 8 or 6 to 7 or 8. That is Saturday night. That's correct. Thank you.
I have nothing to report, but I hope everybody has a good Merry Christmas and has fun attending all these events. Okay, we'll move on to item number 22, which is staff reports. So I'll start with Ann.
I have nothing to report.
Ann,
Nothing to add to my report that was in the packet.
Executive Director.
Nothing to report.
Okay, so we will adjourn and our next scheduled meeting for the COG is not till next year, February 5th, 2025 at 5:30 here in this room. So with that, we're gonna take a break. Do we need, do a 10-minute break, so 5? Okay, we'll do a 5-minute break. Okay, we are now into the Calaveras Transit Agency, CTA. So we will go into consent agenda. So is there any board member that wishes to pull a consent item? None. Is there any public comment? And I'm guessing there's none.
None.
Okay. With that, I'll move it back to the board. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Tim?
Second.
Approved by Tim, moved by Tim, second by Pat. All, roll call, Aaron?
Consent agenda vote, Amanda Follendorf,
Yep.
Gary Tofinelli,
Aye.
Caroline Sherrato,
Aye.
Justin Catalano,
Aye.
Tim Uterese,
Aye.
Pat Bettinger.
Aye.
601.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Next is public comment. Is there any member of the public that wishes to comment on an item not on the agenda? No one in the room and no one online?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 4, which is, sorry, thank you. Yes, item number 5, which is the CTA facility design update and request for direction. So with that, I'm gonna move it to the executive director to start the presentation off.
Thank you, Chair Follendorf. As the council is aware, at our September meeting, we awarded a contract to Aspen Street Architects for the design of a new transit and COG facility here in San Andreas. Over the last months, we've been working with the Aspen Street team. They are here to present renderings and get some feedback. It's been great working with the team. They've come out, they've visited our COG office and site and visited the transit operator site to look at needs and what we currently have and what we would need in the future. So at this time, I'd like to hand it over to Christina from Aspen Street. We have a presentation and some renderings, and we'd be seeking your input on facade 1 and facade 2. Thank you, Christina.
Thanks. So excited. This is turning out to be a real fun project, and like working with Melissa and her team as well. So this is really exciting. We've done some more due diligence, as Melissa said, and we visited the CTA site and got the input and a list of items that needs and wants from the CTA to help us in the direction of the design. So I think that we've come up with a great layout for the site plan. As you see here, in front of I can't really point to it. It's not letting me point to it. So it absorbs the red light. So there's the rock in the front, which is a retention pond. And the reason we put the retention pond there is the gravity flow for drainage in a water event. So the water will naturally flow, and any overflow will go into that retention pond. And that's the most economical and best way to handle that stormwater requirement. We're also showing the cover for the buses as a solar panel cover, and that is next to Highway 49. So there's plenty of room, and it makes the most sense to put that there for the angle of the sun as well. And then we have the maintenance building. I put the car wash. I did change the orientation of that. I felt like before it was adjacent and parallel to the other bays. And I thought if I made it perpendicular, they're not backing in and out. They're just driving. They can drive through either way. And it just made it more sense. So any questions on this?
Want to do questions after each slide, or do we want her to just go through the whole thing and then go back and do questions? Go through the whole thing? Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, so feel free, go through and then we'll.
Okay. This is option A. It's more of a lighter white color with some black metal panel accents. The white panels that you see, the rectangular panels, that's an EVIS, which is a type of stucco. And it just gives it a modern, clean look. You also see the stone. I have a clean Eldorado light colored stone. All these are very sustainable materials. I'm sorry, at this time of year, I tend to lose my voice every year out here. We're also using a nice black with a mullion storefront style at the entry. And then kind of a different feature over the proposed Chamber of Commerce area. I did some structural glass with, it's like kind of a cupola look over the foyer area of the chamber area. It doesn't need to happen, but it is a nice kind of architectural feature. And also, if the bottom one image that you look at, this building's gonna be inset and into the natural flow of the grade. So the landscaping that we're going to propose is a lot of natural and native. That's what I'm looking for. Native plants, and the building's gonna be inset into the landscape. So as you drive up, it'll look real nice. It'll look very nice. So, but the materials are the deco metal paneling, storefront, structural glass, stone, EFIS, and not really wood, but it's a metal panel wood grain look on this image. This is option A. Option B is a little bit a different color theme, more stucco, more smooth stucco, a lot more glass at the center of the building. So left is the COG side and right would be the CTA side. And then the far left on the corner is where the Chamber of Commerce is. And just the same, I like this one as well. I think both go with the theme and the background of the landscape. And we have our proposed look for the chamber room.
Yep, the board chambers.
Yeah, the board chamber room. And there's 7 seats. It is curved like yours is here. I have the podium set in the middle. We could set it off to the side. There's the required access ramp and the steps up. Also, you will see a door on the right, and that is access to the conference room that the Council of Governments will have access to as well, but you guys will have access for closed sessions. So, and then this is just the floor plan. I don't know if I can zoom in on this at all, but this is just an updated floor plan with a more, detailed, it's getting more detailed. So more options are shown, and windows and doors and,
Yeah, and as we progress through the process, we'll come back to the council when we get to additional stages with more detail.
yeah. So, and then I have just the architectural site plan, just showing the updated view that the rendering did show.
And Christina, if you could go back, you're calling them option A and option B, right?
Yes.
So what we're asking for input from the council tonight is we want to identify what facade the council wants us to move in this direction. So we have option A with this facade with the light color, and then we have option B with this facade and the different window and the roof scale.
So the roof slopes, it's like a
thank
single,
you, guys.
single slope on this one, and then the other one is more of a flat roof in the middle, and with the cupola on the end at the foyer.
This building is not, this building's not 2 stories, right?
No.
No. No.
Okay. Oh, Tim, sorry.
I apologize, I don't know why.
I did
Oh.
that to get you in trouble. I'm just curious. The glazing is all facing north, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we did a study analysis on the lighting, and there won't be any real direct sunlight, so the amount of glass that we're using will help with, it'll provide light, but it won't be direct, like heat sunlight, yeah.
Thank you for answering that. That was going to be my question, if there was going to be direct sunlight on the front of this building.
That's what I was worried about too.
No, I did a study first, yeah, because I wanted to see where to put windows and the glass.
Okay.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
That's in my entry.
This side.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at option A and versus B, and I'm more prone for A. However, I do have a couple of questions. And B, the main part, the glass goes all the way up. Versus this other one, is it possible for the other one that the glass could go all the way up? And then I like the glass above the boardroom, and I'm assuming that roof, that's gonna let light in the boardroom.
Well,
That's gonna be
the
open.
board, yeah, that only goes above the foyer. I can switch it so it's above the floor.
Okay, just above the foyer, okay.
Yeah, I could switch it so it's above the boardroom.
I know, I like it over the foyer too.
So do I like that, yeah. So, that's what I would like to see as far as that goes, is this one here, have the glass go all the way up right there in the front, much like the B. And then, as far as that goes, that's all I have for right now. I'm in favor of the A, the first one,
Yeah, that's our favorite.
Okay.
other than the glass going all the way up.
I agree with Gary on, I like design A, but except for the windows, the storefront windows for me, it just makes it look like a store and not like an office. I do like the windows on B over the offices. I
You
think
like
that's
that?
what you were saying.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was
that's
saying,
what he was
yeah.
saying.
Okay.
And I do like that, whatever that fancy word is.
Cupola?
Yep, I like that. It's very cool. But I like the lighter version of the building too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with the both of them. I'm in, so is there consensus for that?
I like A as well.
Okay, Pat?
Really like that.
Okay,
With the windows changed.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
more like.
yeah.
You might feel like you're in a fishbowl with those windows.
I have other additional question, but it goes to the first page on this, not the, is that okay? Can we do that? Oh, okay. one question I have for the solar panels and the buses being parked there, because it's directed to Highway 49, are we gonna have some kind of barrier so it's not obvious from the highway for security reasons? So it's not open. I know we're gonna have a fence around the compound, but are we worried about visibility that the buses are just sitting there?
Wanted to have a sign that Butch might go. I would hope that we would want to highlight the spot, and that is a good visual right off Highway 49 of COG and the transit facility.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that we're not losing the conversation about security with the visibility from the highway. Okay, as long as staff is comfortable with it, I'm fine with, and then, I guess I'd be going back. So this might be more of a question for you, Melissa. With the consensus of what the board selected, how is this, are you happy with that, with how you're gonna do your sign placement with the CTA building and COG and welcome and all of that kind of stuff?
If you look on this photo right here, you see where the bus is coming off of the road and just coming into the rectangular site. There will also be signage there.
Okay.
And so we'll have transit operations on one side and COG offices, pointing you to turn in to the other side.
Okay.
And there'll also be a gate so that people will park in front of the offices, and we have a separate entrance for drivers. And like I said, we anticipate to come back to you every step of the way and update you and get your input on the building.
Would you want a gate at the very, very entry? Because I only put the gate
Yeah,
into
we're only gonna have the
CTA.
one gate. Yeah,
Okay,
one gate.
that's what made sense to me.
Yes, only one gate.
Okay, I have one more question, sorry. Okay, it's on this one with
Okay.
the boardroom.
Yep.
Are we gonna have enough room with this layout for video recording of the meetings? Did you configure that into the square footage of this?
So if you look, there's two sides for staff. So a videographer can be on the right-hand side, staff can be on the left, but we're also hoping to wire the cameras and the filming right in. So I don't know that we will need someone sitting right there all the time.
Okay, I just, wanted to make sure with the doors and everything, we weren't just sticking, in
No,
a
no, no.
random spot. Okay,
And then we hope to have right behind where you're sitting on the wall is the new logo of COG, right there behind you on the wall.
cool.
Back of the room, Susan.
No, Susan already checked with us if she'll be coming with us.
I do have one other question.
Yes, okay.
And it has to do with this retention pond. I understand the concept of why having it from the runoff coming down. But my question is, it will only have water in it when there's runoff? Or is
Yeah,
that
in a
water-
major event.
Oh, okay, in a major event.
Yeah.
So that water, if it fills up and we have a major event, like we did in '23, that water will just sit there stagnant until and then it'll be, is there any way that we can maybe put something in there to keep it moving or something so it doesn't turn stagnant and get moldy and?
I suggested like a seasonal waterfall. So
Okay.
in the wintertime, there might, there's just moving water. If there is any moving water, then it would just be generated by maybe a trip where it hits a certain level.
Yeah.
And then
kicks
it would
off.
generate just just very simple, like a moving waterfall on the ends.
Just so it moves, yeah.
So it's not stagnant, yeah.
We do have to be
I'm
careful.
Nate. Also, and Sybil can answer this a lot better, and we'll get a better answer to you, but it does infiltrate. The idea is it holds it in a large event, so it's not just spilling it out.
It will trickle out.
Yes.
It won't just be
And
there
down.
stagnant.
And it is sized.
So, yeah, it's like a retention, so, okay. Just so
Yeah,
we-
and will be a perk test that will be done for
Okay, all right.
via the geotech.
Okay.
So it is sized, so it doesn't retain for very long, so.
That's.
You're not gonna line the pond, you're just gonna
No.
let it percolate out after.
Yeah, there'll be layers of certain sediment, and it's good for our environment, it's good for our drinking water.
Want to make sure we were on the same page with it.
Yeah, no, good questions, good questions.
Okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
The cover that we have the buses under, is it gonna cover all the vehicles that we have, or do we have to store some of them inside as well?
No, there's room for 10.
Okay.
Well, and then, okay, back to the boardroom. So we did put 12 seats, and then in the back, we did put 2 benches. And then in an overflow, like maybe a standing room only event, the way it could be opened up, and we could have TV monitors and speakers in a standing room. only.
That's pretty cool. Uh-huh.
So,
Uh-huh.
I have another question.
Okay.
What's the lighting situation in this room? Other than I see sconces, but is there overhead lighting?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we'll have a ACT, acoustical ceiling tiles, probably
Yeah.
2 by
You
2.
can go right out there, just kick the thing down.
That's okay.
She may have it with her husband.
Okay.
So
He's calling me.
we don't want it to get locked out.
Kept calling her.
Right.
He's probably worried that it's done so late. So yeah, I'm doing the sconces. I didn't really put any type of paneling on the walls. I'm trying to, if the budget allows for it, I'd like to put like a white wainscoting, like a 4 by 4 square along the panel painted white, or even do actual wood paneling wainscoting halfway up. But I'm budget wise, I've kept it pretty blank.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
one thing that the board has to keep in mind too is, the wish list versus what we can do to survive,
Yep.
just to get the bare minimum.
And that's what Christina and Aspen Street, they're doing. They have a line item. So we are within budget
Yes.
with this site plan, and we are also on schedule. So on our schedule, it said December 17th. So I'm happy to say we're on schedule.
Yeah.
We won't have a January meeting, but we will keep you posted as we go through the process. Thank you guys for your
I was gonna
input.
say keeping the walls plain might be nice if, for artwork, rotating artwork
Yep.
or whatever you want to do, and it doesn't date it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thank you.
I have just one other comment. I keep looking at this, and I brought it up further. Where we're sitting right now, if you look at it, we're pretty much at level. Looking at that, it's elevated. And I would rather have a bench where we're at the same level like we're right now.
Oh,
with people,
okay.
instead
You
of
think it's
kind
too
of
high,
looking,
Gary?
it's kind of looking.
I have it,
down.
14-inch difference.
I mean, I don't care about what it looks, I'm just saying it looks elevated.
But it's not elevated to the people standing.
But I'm just,
You want to be at the same level of people.
yeah,
Oh.
need to go? Okay, I'm saying where we're sitting right now,
Yeah.
Family first.
that looks elevated.
It is, it's 14 inches higher.
Yeah.
But right now, you are probably about
We're up, but we're
about
not.
14.
Okay,
You're about
that's
the
fine, I
same.
just thought I'd bring it up.
Is it mim-
As we
does it-
move forward, we'll.
We'll look at it.
Yeah, we'll look at it, that's fine. Thank you, it was a great presentation, great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Thank you.
And we get to keep these, so we'll have these hanging in the office.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
get to
thank you
keep
for
those?
coming tonight.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
I have one more.
Oh, go
Is
ahead,
there any-
Justin.
Is there any pictures of the inside of the transit facility?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this looks really good as it is so far, so that's cool.
Yeah. I just so you know, I'm thinking, and I kind of put this to Melissa, on the transit side, it would be a cost-saving measure, but also it would kind of make sense on the CTA side is to do a stained and leave the concrete exposed and polished. Because you've got mechanics and bus drivers coming in and out and the traffic. So I was thinking maybe in the high traffic areas to do a polished concrete look. And then the offices do carpet. But that's just, I mean, that's into the weeds, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can work with her on that.
Yeah.
With the details when we get into that.
Yeah, and the carpet shown in this one is an actual carpet we have in the office. She has it in her office.
Yeah, I have a sample.
Okay.
So we've incorporated that actual carpet in there.
Perfect, thank you. So I think, did you have another?
Just wanted, so moving forward, you have the concept of what we want here. You start putting structural drawings together, and then we can get some estimates on the costs.
Yeah, I've been working on schematic level, rough order of magnitude costs. I'm anywhere from $1,015 a square foot to $1,075 a square foot. That's everything. That's site development, PG&E, that's everything. I will be bringing on the cost estimator that was part of the original proposal for the AA architectural RFP. But he was to be brought in at 30%. So I believe we're at 30%, so I will be reaching out to that consultant, and he'll be nailing down the figures at 30, 60, and 90. So we should have between 30 and 60% of the drawings by February, and so we'll have a budget update then.
Oh, perfect. And don't forget that COG is under CPPA, or Calaveras Power Authority, Public Power Authority, so we get rates different, and the connections could be different rates.
Okay, good to know,
And
because we're doing
you can-
applicant design.
Yeah.
And then I worked at PG&E, so I know like how they do all the contracts and stuff. So you read a contract and they give you two options and of the costs and stuff. So
Well, I can put them in touch with Dennis.
Yeah.
So we got everything going on.
that's good.
Okay, all right.
Cool.
So this was just direction, consent, no voting?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure.
So thank you very much for your input, and thank you, Aspen Street.
Yeah, thank
All
you,
right,
Steve.
have a good night, all.
Appreciate it. I do have so Monica doesn't remind me, I do need to say public comment. Is there any public comment on this item? Seeing none, we'll move on to next agenda item, which is number 6, minute order approving 24-25 operations budget amendment number 2. I'll turn it over to the executive director, Rajo.
Thank you, Chair Follendorf. This item is to account for capital projects. We purchased a Toyota van, so the increase to the budget, which is amendment number 2, totals $85,612. If you look on page 13, you'll see where we identified the revenue above under what we currently have in transit reserve, and then we identified under line item 5701. We also needed to pay for the cost of 2 new radios to go in all of the new buses we've gotten. So that's what this amendment is. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Yes, you do, okay.
I just had a quick question on the reserve fund, $81,975 for, it says partial payment for one Toyota Sienna all-wheel drive. Is that the full payment or a partial payment?
No, so we used a portion of what was left in the transit reserve, which is the 81,000, and then we used what we had a small amount left in PTMISCA, like that was interest, so we're trying to zero out all of those.
Any other questions? I couldn't remember if you like went on or off before. Any other questions? Justin, are you good? Okay. Or is there any public comment?
I have a question, I just noticed it. Item 5121, $4,000, bus driver iPads for jigsaw puzzles?
No, where are you?
It says Jigsaw, Zoom software and maintenance.
Jigsaw is our fixed
It's
route
our software. It's called
Okay,
Jigsaw.
it's called Jigsaw. Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought
Yeah.
I'd ask. I saw it.
Yep. Yep.
Well, gaming, I'm getting them into gaming.
All the-
Waiting for airplane,
Yeah. No, all the software have all the different names, Spare, Zoom, Jigsaw.
Okay.
Is there any public comment? Seeing none, we'll move it back to the board. Is there anyone that wishes to move the item?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Tim, second by Justin. And roll call, please.
Item 6, roll call vote, Amanda Thalmador,
Yep.
Gary Tofinelli,
Aye.
Caroline Strato,
Aye.
Justin Catalano,
Aye.
Tim Unities,
Aye.
Pat Bettinger.
Aye.
601.
Okay. We'll move on to item number 7, which is paratransit services, operation report. Hi, Cynthia.
Just relax.
That's right. Good evening, Cynthia Lawrence, Calaveras Connect, Operations Manager for Calaveras Connect. I just have a few things just to mention, that are interesting. So I did the comparison from November of last year to this year again, and our red line is definitely trending up, which is always good to hear. It's probably a correlation with the school kids, because our high school kids actually jumped 21 riders last month. And we finally got the numbers for last month of as many that we can identify, but it looks like a total ridership morning is really up there. It's over 300 and 318, I think. Yeah. And then going back home, we've been able to identify about 213. So total ridership is 531 for our high school, which was, it's nice to see. And they've reached out, and we're going to do some more training with them as well after the first of the year. So really exciting. And then our dial ride is down a little bit, but I attribute that to West Point. We usually move our Wednesday runs to Tuesday over Thanksgiving so the ladies don't miss out. But we did have 1 week in November prior to that. They didn't ride. So that it usually checks out. It's about 12 riders down. That's about right. Other than that, the new buses are doing well. The drivers are enjoying them. We're looking forward to one more vehicle, I think it is, to be delivered, and dial ride. And what else do I have? I think that's about it. Do you have any questions?
Any questions by the board?
Oh, we're gearing up for Christmas party. That's the big event of the year, so for all the drivers. It's going to be out in camps, just camp, so we try to stay local.
Nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Isn't that the city?
Sure is. Yeah.
We had it at Mokill last
Then
year.
the city can pay for it, okay?
Oh, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, we'll move on to item number 8, which is staff report. Director? Nothing?
I have nothing to report.
Ian?
Nothing to report.
And,
Nothing to report.
okay. And before we adjourn, once again, Justin, thank you for everything. Really appreciate it. And don't be a stranger, so.
You're
hope
welcome,
to hear
and
from
I
you.
definitely will visit when I come out there. And I'm looking forward to this new facility. It looks incredible. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Thank you for being part of it.
Thank you, Justin.
welcome.
Thank you
You're
again.
welcome. Thank you. Have good holidays, everybody, and I will see you when I see you.
So again, we'll adjourn and we'll see everyone next year, February 5th, 2025 right here in this room. So everyone have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.